Bienvenidos. Soy la bruja Espinada, and I am here with your special new moon messages readings. So let's get started. We've just entered the season of fall, and depending where you are in the world, it is still feeling like summer. So, we're starting off strong with the Hermit card. That's followed by the Page of Pentacles, the Three of Cups, the Seven of Wands, Knight of Wands, the Sun, very good sign, the Ten of Swords, the Seven of Swords. Ooh, the Seven of Pentacles. You got 777. That says a lot. The Lover's card, the Hanged Man, and the Two of Swords, the Ace of Swords. I'm gonna wait, see if these next two cards are going to be relevant to this reading. So, getting started, the Hermit. So, it's very interesting. We are entering what is called eclipse season. We just had the full moon in a lunar eclipse. That means that all the lessons that come into the changes of, how do I want to express this? Sorry, I just had my coffee. It is first thing in the morning for me. So, lunar eclipses, eclipses in general, eclipse season. If you recall the message that I had in the reading for the full moon, touching on eclipses, is a cautious time. It's a cautious time because in certain cultures it is seen as a time of when like malo ojo is at its strongest, more or less like karmic energies are full force. And it's not, karmic isn't like good or bad. Karmic is an event, right? It's an event that we all have karma. All of us have karma. The way that we move forward, knowing that our actions will spark a multitude of ripples within the universe, which is part of our karma, and how we, ascend to enlightenment, essentially. That's just a very watered down explanation. But eclipses and karma. As I explained before, it is thought, or it is believed, that those who have caused harm to someone else, whether it's intentionally or unintentionally, must understand that you have to make amends, in a sense. So they say, like, if you've intentionally caused harm to someone, if you know you've intentionally caused harm to someone, be cautious when going out and about, because that comes back to you, right? And a lot of the times it could be that you may think, well, I've never intentionally harmed someone. This is a time, this is why the Hermit card is so important, especially during eclipse season, because now we're going to have another eclipse. So we just left a lunar eclipse, and we're going to be having a solar eclipse on October 2nd, I believe. So we're still within this, we're still feeling the effects of the lunar eclipse, and we're going to start feeling the effects of the solar eclipse. So here's the thing when we talk about the Hermit card and the eclipses, is there's times when we think that we haven't caused any harm, right? And this is not to say that you should maintain a level of constant positive mindset, because that's pretty toxic in and of itself. Especially you try to reinforce that with everybody. It's a balance, right? You have to understand that, yes, we are human. We're not perfect. We do have moments of, where we falter, and that's kind of like if you're driving and someone cuts you off, or you can tell the person in front of you is on their phone because they're swerving all over the road, and it's irritating you because you know that can cause an accident, and you're cussing them out, or someone, you go to the store, someone's in a bad mood and they're giving you a look, and so it sets off your your inner hood, and it's just like, ooh, no. And it's hard to kind of gather yourself, right? One of the things that was taught to us in the Mayan ceremonial practice of cacao ceremony is that this is referred to as someone being in their Xibalba. Xibalba is the underworld. And one of the things is that it's not necessarily having the mindset of like positivity all the time. Let's do this, smiles forever, happiness. No, that's not healthy. What the concept of Xibalba is, or someone being in Xibalba, is an understanding. You have to be in an understanding of like, not all of us have good days all the time. Whenever we're in a bad mood and we try to explain this, and then we feel, because we tend to have that well-roundedness. That's what enlightenment is, that you've learned from many different points of view and perspectives, right? So when we get the Hermit card, especially during this transition from the lunar eclipse to the solar eclipse, we are in transition of learning. And this is where we, in this eclipse season, and thinking like, well, have I harmed somebody? Well, take a step back. Have you been understanding enough to those that have been having their own struggles? Like sometimes, like I said, you go to the store, someone bumps into you, or you bump into them on accident, you're like, oh, I'm sorry. And then they just give you the stink eye for no damn reason. And you're like, bitch, it's a social learning that we have. However, are we being understanding like, hey, maybe they're in a bad mood, or maybe, they're in their Xibalba. Maybe they're in the dark of the moon in their life, and that's just how they are. And be like, you know what? The idea of giving grace. It's not being the bigger person. It's giving grace. And giving grace, I believe, is taking a step back and be like, you know what? Instead of adding on to your darkness because I can F you the hell up, it's like, I'm going to give you a pass because I can F you the hell up, right? So it's just understanding, be like, taking that step back and understanding some people are just in their Xibalba. If you know someone that's constantly bitter, always resenting others, constantly in a state of jealousy, that is also Xibalba. That's a learning experience that they have to work through. Whether or not they work through it, it's on them, right? But it's up to you to reflect. Go inside and reflect. Is that for your benefit? Is that going to keep you and your mindset and your spirituality clean from the negativity and toxicity that doesn't serve you, right? We all have and give some sort of toxicity or negativity. We're not clean of that. That's that yin and yang. There's a little bit of darkness in the light, and there's a little bit of light in the darkness, right? So it all flows together. So it's not like we're without our hood moments, right? But we have to reflect on, and even if you're like, you know what, no, I do think on these things. I'm like, you know what, I don't feel like I need to, continue like putting off my negativity on others. That's great. But that doesn't mean that you can't reflect. Look back and think of, hey, you know what, I wish I could have handled this better. This situation in the past, that's something that I feel like I could have handled better. What's a different way that I could have handled that? So all this to say, a good 10 minutes worth of me explaining just the Hermit card in and of itself in relevance to eclipse season is reflection. We're in a time of reflection. This is a huge time for reflection. If you feel like there's nothing you need to reflect on, that's a lie. There's always something to reflect on. Even little things, right? So again, we have the Page of Pentacles. We have the Page of Pentacles. I think the last two readings. So there is learning new ways to manage monies, manage funds, manage resources. And this is going to be especially important because we're also followed by the Three of Cups. If you see here, the Three of Cups is celebrating abundance, connection, celebration. You see back here we have a basket full of fruit. We have pumpkins. This is all about abundance. We just entered the fall season. Again, it might feel like summer in some areas, but we're entering the fall season. This is all a time about appreciating the abundance and celebrating the abundance with others. That's not saying like throw all the parties and invite everybody. No, no, no. Because remember, this is a reflection and a learning time for how to properly manage our monies, our resources, things like that. When you're in a learning state, we do have some hiccups. So here we have the Seven of Wands. We have quite a few sevens actually. So the Seven of Wands typically is Seven of Wands usually means betrayal. Having experienced betrayal or feeling like you're being betrayed, feeling like you're being outed, feeling like you're being attacked. That's this feeling here. As you see, the spears are trying to attack this individual. This individual has the higher ground though, and they're at a better vantage point of protecting themselves. So this is of course not a bad reading. We do have the Sun card. The Sun card brightens everything up, right? Despite the some of the heavy notes. So while this is a time for learning and celebration, you might feel as though you must be in feeling defensive. You might be feeling defensive at this time. There might be some feelings, and that could be something like you don't know why you're feeling this way, and that's something to reflect on. There is a theory that our body holds on to a lot of trauma, and what winds up happening is that during a certain time of the year is when you will feel on edge, you won't understand why, and it could be tied into trauma. It's something like, you know what, around this time, there was this family issue that happened many years ago. It was really bad, but every year on the anniversary of that day, I start to feel like this. I just remember, and it could be that. That's one of the explanations of why you could be feeling like this. But we have the Knight of Wands. The Knight of Wands is another step, another movement as to things coming to you pretty quickly. So as we enter the fall season, or as we have entered the fall season and we start progressing into the winter, we tend to think like things slow down. It's quite the opposite. Things start to speed up. So things are going to start moving rapidly. Things are going to start progressing, and because it's the season where there's lots of celebration, things are going to be coming to you a lot quicker. And while you might be on edge, there's good news coming through. Good news that, again, we have the Ten of Swords, right? We have the Ten of Swords, the last reading, and we also are followed with the Seven of Swords. Being in defense, reminiscing on pain. This is all balance, guys. So you're like, well, I thought we had the Sun, and then we have the Ten of Swords and the Seven of Swords, of being on edge, being on defense. Remember, these are karmic lessons, okay? So it's taking the good with the bad. It's taking the light with the dark. It's taking the dark with the light. The thing is that as things have progressed in the days, in the moments, in the months, as they've been moving forward, we are now starting a new year. I don't know about you guys, for me this year flew by faster than any of the other years. And The Seven of Pentacles is a huge highlight of that. So the Seven of Pentacles is that concept of you've already planted your seeds and you're watching them intently, waiting for them to grow. You're waiting for your plant to start bearing its fruit. But the reality is that you can't keep staring intently on something to come to fruition. You have to keep living life. You can't just plant a bunch of seeds and stay there and wait for them to grow. That's not how life works. In the last card, I believe, in the last two readings rather, we've had the Temperance card come out. Temperance is a reminder of patience. The Seven of Pentacles is another reminder of patience. Once you plant something, you've got to let it go. Huge, huge, huge point when it comes to the new moon. The new moon is when you set intentions, right? So I've mentioned this many times before. So if you're an active watcher of mine, you will help you. You're going to feel like you've said this again. Okay, don't let me feel like your mother telling you something and watching it go in through one ear and then coming out the other. When you set an intention, when you make your wish upon a star, wish on a candle, whatever the case may be, wishing on a penny, when you set your intentions of what it is that you want, don't make the intention the same thing over and over. At max, don't exceed 3 intentions that are the same, because it's the concept of patience and watching things grow. You want it now, right? It's going to come to you when the universe deems it's the right time, because are you in the right mindset right now to receive it, right? Are you in the right mindset to receive it? Let's say, use this as an example. Use this. You receive a large sum of monies, but you still have the habit of buying things that you don't need, thinking, you know what, I'm going to put all this on credit card, and once I have that money, I'll deal with it later. You know, are you in a financially healthy mindset to receive that large abundance of money? Chances are, and from what I'm seeing here, whatever that you're waiting for to come to you, you're not in the right mindset. If you're waiting for a very healthy love, are you in a healthy love mindset to receive that healthy love? Sometimes we have that old mindset of like, F this, F that, they're going to do it the way that I want, and I want it to be the way that I want only. But that understanding that a healthy love is not necessarily compromise, but two healthy people being able to talk something out together and see if it can work. Because when you try to enforce your will on another, that's so unhealthy. And just like you don't want them to force their will onto you, you can't have that domineering personality. So if there's someone that comes to you and you're still in that mindset, you're going to lose that. You have to work towards receiving that resource that you are asking for. But once you've asked for it, you have to put in the work to leave it alone and work on yourself in the meantime as it comes to you. Moving forward on that note, being patient, understanding that once you plant the seed, you got to walk away and leave it. Don't ask for it more than once, because the universe will be like, hey, I'm working on it. And they won't give it to you because your persistence is showing that your impatience is not helping you and it's not healthy. We're followed by the Lovers card. This doesn't necessarily have to be a love reading. This is just an indicator of union, whether it's you co-creating with spirit, whether it's you making a business partnership, whether it's you collaborating with another group of individuals. It's a union, pretty much. It could be a union of you and yourself, that your busy work schedule and your spiritual self are finally coming together. You're finally finding that balance. Now, what I see here is we have the Hermit card. We also have the Hanged Man. The Hanged Man is that message of look at it from the other perspective. Now, if we're to take it, like I had said here, using the concept of love, right? Using the concept of love, using the concept of the monies that you need, whatever it is that you're requesting as you set your intentions for this new moon. The Hanged Man is looking at it from a different perspective. It's giving you the indication, look at it from a different perspective. Look at everything from a different perspective. If you're getting the notice to go within and really think about things, really ruminate, really not deeply analyze, but really think about things at a different perspective, a lot more things are going to make sense as to, you know what, I know why I didn't receive this at this time, because realistically in that mindset, it wasn't right for me. It would not have worked. I would not have been able to handle it the way that I think. We all go through that. I've been through that time and time and again. Okay? And then we have the Two of Swords. The Two of Swords, the Two of Swords and the Ace of Swords. It's understanding what needs to be said versus what you feel you have to get off your chest. Not everything you feel that you have to get off your chest needs to be said. Now, Swords has a lot to do with communication. I've explained this before. When you reflect, and once you've thought about things from the other perspective, you will be able to understand the weight of your words and deciphering by listening, because mind you, the eyes are closed. What needs to be said versus what you need to get off your chest has a huge impact on how you move forward, because the things that you say, it's like a path. It's like taking a path. When you weigh out the options of having to go within to feel what it is that you're feeling and feel what it is that you need to say or want to say versus what needs to be said because you thought about it from the perspective of, if what I say will benefit both myself and the individual that I'm telling it to, that is the path that you have taken. Whether you just say or let anything come out like word vomit, willy-nilly, that also is a new thing you're going to have to deal with. This is new. So whichever choice you get, because it's a two, whichever one you decide, whether just to let it all out, unfiltered, that is a new path you're going to have to take, and it's going to probably start a new cycle of things you have to learn because you didn't follow the going within, looking for the different perspective, and then speaking. Versus if you've already done this, you've already learned something new and you're on a new path regardless of the fact. So, with that being said, let's move on to the King of Pentacles. Okay, I'm going to pull two more cards after this. The King of Pentacles, someone who has abundance, someone who has learned to manage their finances, their resources, someone who knows how to make this abundance continue. The king doesn't just sit there waiting for things to grow. They understand that things have to be given their time in order to grow. Watching from a distance, watching how things progress. Temperance Tower, things being shaken up, things changing. This is necessary. Change is necessary. Even though we don't like change, and trust me, I don't either, we have to look at it from a different perspective and understand that regardless of whether or not we like it, the Hanged Man is flipping it on his head and seeing it from a different perspective on how this needs to change. So in order for abundance to continue, sometimes we have to let things get shaken up. Sometimes things change. Things change whether we like it or not. Things change abruptly, and there are times where we are not ready for it. So chances are, the reason why we have the Seven of Swords and the Seven of Wands is that Man, not again. I always have to deal with this. Once things are going great, things fall apart with the Tower, and then we're struggling, and that's why we see the 10 of Swords. So we're always on the defensive. We're always on the defensive, not wanting to let our guard down, but that can also lead to self-sabotage because we're always waiting for the other shoe to drop, right? So you have to change that. You have to change that outlook on its head. And of course, Temperance. Patience, 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 patience. One of the things is that there's nothing wrong with being vigilant. There's nothing wrong with being prepared. Things like this, like the Ten of Swords, the struggles, the pain. We understand that, preparedness is super key because it's happened to us before, right? Where things are going great and then not so great in an instant. Being prepared is a very important aspect of being in your level of hierarchy, right? Once you've reached the top level of hierarchy, you have to anticipate that not everything is sunshine and rainbows and things could fall apart in an instant. But being prepared would allow you to be able to reflect on what needs to be learned, what needs to be tended to, what needs to be better understood, and how to communicate that properly. Woo! So, moving on, Mighty Fates. What additional lesson do you have to add to these messages? We have Ascension. Ooh, very interesting. We have Ascension. So, let us see what Ascension has for us. Ascension. Here we go. Ascension. This card is a testament to all of the work you have done. It is a nod from the universe that your efforts are seen and are being rewarded. Things are moving forward and you will continue to progress and reach a higher state of consciousness, as well as earthly success. This card can also be encouraging you to deepen your spiritual practices and work toward alignment with the highest code of being. Life is all about moving and reaching our true potential. You are well on your way. Keep going. On the flip side, this card can also indicate an imbalance around spiritual practice. Sometimes we can become completely reliant on all things spiritual and may ignore the earthly plane and real issues. This is referred to as spiritual bypassing. Another form this takes is continuing to focus on clearing and up-leveling, but not integrating. It can become an addiction and all about moving on to the next thing. And we think it's okay because it's spiritual in nature. But in reality, it can be disempowering. If this resonates with you, work on grounding yourself and perhaps slow down. And slowing down is one of the biggest things that come along with the Hermit card. So, and then remember, we're talking about collaborating, unionizing. Animal spirit guides. What messages do you have for us to close out this reading for our watchers? That's too many. Okay. Okay. I can't make this shit up, guys. So we're talking about a rocky foundation, things falling apart, and then we get the beaver spirit. Lay a solid foundation. I say this every time. I don't make this shit up. And I'm glad you guys agree for the most part that I don't make this shit up. Okay, Beaver Spirit. Beaver Spirit is here to tell you about a power living within you that is born of spirit, the source from which all life arises. This is the power to establish the sacred connection with the universal consciousness so you can deliberately co-create the world you desire. Know that it takes work, determination, and sustained effort to co-create and lay a solid foundation of your dreams. If With Spirit as your partner, you bring the twigs and branches of your intentions and desires and spread them across the river of time. You'll be amazed at what you can do. You will find that you can even change the direction of the flow of life. You can ensure that your world will be prosperous and purposeful, filled with love and joy, and rich with magic and meaning. That which you desire will come to you and remain sustainably if you build on a sturdy foundation. Keep your intention and energy consistent and deliberate, using all your resources and the energy of this wonderful, productive time. Have faith, for with Spirit to co-create with you, your success is assured. Spirit is your partner, helping you along as you change the course of your life in the way your heart desires. Bearer Spirit has come to warn you to check for rotten wood in the foundation of your dreams. Perhaps you built hopes on faulty promises or wishful thinking that something would work out just because you wanted it to. Maybe you made choices from a place of unworthiness, hoping that once you got what you desired, it would somehow change you and make everything better. And you had to face the truth that it didn't. Or Beaver Spirit may be telling you it is time to accept things as they are and perhaps consider abandoning the project, relationship, or situation so you can make room for something better. Perhaps you need to go back and rebuild a solid foundation because what you desire may not be in alignment with what your soul intends. Beaver Spirit says you can always get busy and build something fresh and new if the desire is true. All manner of miracles can spring up from a new strong foundation when you remember your partnership with Spirit. Be clear about what you're building and why. Choosing from a place of worthiness, well-being, and wholeness. Self-understanding and acceptance will provide you with a solid blueprint to begin with. Get busy now. Beaver Spirit says this is not a time to procrastinate, but a time to start building again, always mindful of the foundation you are laying. Trust that Spirit is co-creating with you. Well done. Reflect on what you need to reflect on. Think about it from the different perspectives and really be mindful of the path you're going to be laying. Be patient. Okay? So, I hope this helps, and I'll see you guys next time.